I'm Nick Westergaard, and this is On Brand, helping you tell your story. My guest this week is Jamie Turner.
And the secret is to actually not try to persuade, but to influence. And what I mean by that is we've all been in situations where a salesperson comes into us and is pushy. Hey, can I sell you a car? You know, what are you looking for? All that. And what we do is we put up this wall, and we don't want to be pushed towards something. So what a good persuader has to do is bring the wall down and say, I'm not here to persuade you to do anything. All I'm here to do is to introduce ideas, thoughts, facts to you so that you can make the best decision that you can for your own need.
Jamie Turner is an internationally recognized author, professor, consultant, and TV news contributor who has helped the Coca-Cola Company, Holiday Inn, Mercedes-Benz, and other global brands tackle complex business problems. He has been featured in the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Business Insider, Entrepreneur, Inc., and other prominent publications. Jamie is the co-author of 4 essential business books, the latest of which is An Audience of One, published by McGraw-Hill. My interview with Jamie Turner is coming right up. But first,
support for this and all the other podcasts on the Marketing Podcast Network is provided by Momento. Yes, you can use AI to make your job as a marketer easier. Momento is built to put the power of AI in your hands. It can write social media captions, have it watch or listen to a podcast and suggest, then automatically create social media posts to promote the show. Heck, it can even listen to a podcast episode, then write a poem about it you can use on your company blog. Go check it out. MPN listeners can try it for free at bit.ly/MomentoMPN. That's bit.ly/MomentoMPN. Hey, creators, podcasters, and brands, if you work on Instagram at all, you have to be tired of the limitations of link in bio. Well, there's a solution. Stampede.social is the ultimate Instagram tool that will change the way you engage with customers, fans, and followers. With Stampede.social, you go beyond a single bio link and instead slide into your fans' DMs. Fire off an automated direct link to wherever you want to send them straight from your posts and lives. This link is only sent to the fans who ask for it, so you'll know exactly who loves your content the most. And Stampede.social does so much more. It gives you back the power of knowing who is engaging with you. It makes it easy to engage with them using AI, and using Stampede.social gives you insights about how your Instagram profile is performing with super robust reports. Drive more clicks, more sales, more followers, and have more time to do what you really love, creating that amazing content. Join the ranks of the world's savviest Instagram creators who already trust Stampede.social. It's a true game changer and will transform the way you connect and engage with your Instagram fans forever. Just for you creators, use our limited time exclusive promo code MPN50. That's MPN50 and get 50% off any monthly or annual subscription tier at checkout. Are you ready to create a stampede of fans back to your content? Don't miss out on this special deal. Head over to Stampede.social.
Jamie Turner, welcome to On Brand.
Hey, Nick, great to be here. Thanks for having me on, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you and also your listeners. So great to be here.
I love the whole gamut of your work about tackling complex business problems. So they take many different forms, complex business problems. Is there a certain favorite one that jumps out as something that you like to roll up your sleeves and tackle?
Actually, yeah, there are. Generally speaking, what I love to do is help people discover a better version of themselves. So that can be going into corporations and helping people optimize their own performance. But on the tackling business problems, so that's kind of a people problem, that first thing. On the business side of the equation, I'm reminded of an interesting experience I had with the Coca-Cola Company. They had brought me in to do some marketing for them. They said, we have a problem where we hire people to drive our trucks, and unfortunately they don't stay around for long because it's a really hard job. And so they said, can you do some research and figure out what we're doing wrong, what we can be doing differently? So we did research and realized that it's a great job in some senses that you're working for Coca-Cola, but it's also a very hard job. You're lifting all these packages out of the trucks all day long. You're alone all day long mostly, and kind of loading things in. So it's a very difficult difficult job. The problem was they were positioning it as a wonderful, glorified job. And we said, you need to switch the positioning over to the fact that this is a little bit like being in the Marines. If you're tough enough, it's a great job. And at the end of the day, you can call yourself a Marine. At the same time, with the Coca-Cola Company, we said, if you just be honest with people and say, hey, this is a rigorous job, but at the end of the day, you're working for one of the greatest brands on the planet, that repositioning where you're being a little more transparent about things will weed out anybody who thinks it's going to be a cushy job. So it was a great example of kind of addressing a problem, doing research, figuring out how to solve the problem, and then executing the problem coming out of that.
That's something that I really had not thought about as we talk about, and we're going to cover it all on the branding marketing side and the people leadership side of that. But yet another angle on that is how some of these very important jobs are positioned internally. And I feel like right now, at a time when workforce is a real challenge, that there would be more companies probably looking to ask themselves that question of, these roles that we can't fill or can't retain in, how do we need to be positioning this? Is there a place where folks could jump off with a hard to fill, hard to retain position like that?
Well, I think you're touching on something that's really a major trend that has happened over the last couple of decades, driven, by the way, by social media. And I'm not, even though a lot of my books are about social media, I'm not necessarily a fan of its impact on society. But
you are not alone there. I feel like that's like the whatever, some sort of, it has to go back to some Greek myth, some story of, so many of us in marketing came up as a result of social media and this powerful new tool. But then it's like, I kind of can't stand this powerful new tool. But
yeah,
I digress.
Yeah, no, it's an important topic. And, all of us get off of social media going, why do I get off of that feeling less than? I'm seeing other people. Hey, why didn't I get on that list? Why is that not happening? And so it really is designed to, in a lot of ways, it just naturally defaults to these kind of negative feelings. Although I will say, and there's problems with TikTok, but one of the things I felt that TikTok got right was, generally speaking, when you come off of that platform, you're feeling uplifted and good, as opposed to some of the other platforms. Now, it could be that I've just trained the algorithm to send me happy things instead of bad things, but who knows?
The
but coming full
knows
circle,
too much.
Yeah, that's true. Coming full circle to the question, what social media has driven this sort of idea of full transparency about things and full authenticity about things. So what happens is that now companies are trying to be fully, clear, really clear about what the job entails, what they're doing, how it's going to impact your life, and all that sort of stuff. And I think that's driven in part because they know if they aren't clear about things up front, then people are going to get on social media and say, hey, this company hired me and it's not what they told me it was going to be, and all that sort of stuff. So I think one of the silver linings with social media is the idea that, hey, it is forcing us to be more transparent, more authentic, and more real about our corporations, our companies, and the places we work.
That's such an important point to think about, and it kind of makes me think of the, as you mentioned when we were talking about the different kinds of problems earlier, that there's marketing, branding, communication problems, and then there are people challenges. How did you find yourself in your career navigating or ending up working on? Because they present somewhat differently, and many times as consultants, we get in our lane, and I help with branding and marketing, and anything else outside of that does not compute. How did you find yourself hopping the median and getting into another lane?
Great question, and there's an interesting story behind it, and so I think your listeners will find this kind of an interesting thing. I came up through marketing, worked on a bunch of different brands, all that sort of stuff. I'm then hired as part of the 60-second marketer to go out and speak about marketing. I'm looking out at an audience. I'm speaking at a marketing profs convention. I'm looking at the audience, and I'm realizing that everybody in the audience, marketing directors, was about 35 years old, was the average age. And I thought, as I get older, they are going to stay 35 years old. So every year I go on, I'm becoming, quote unquote, and this is not true, but it's the perception, I'm becoming less relevant, because in marketing, young people, it's driven by younger people. And young people, if you're like me, when I used to look at older people in marketing, I'd think, what do they know about marketing? They don't know what's going on. There's all these new technologies coming out. So I thought, well, as I get older, that audience is going to stay the same age and I'm going to seem less relevant. And then I thought, well, wait a second, what is it that I can bring wisdom to that would be that would work for other people? And I realized leadership and leadership development. And that's something, the older you get, the more people say, oh, they've been around the block a little bit and they know how the world really works, as opposed to how we think the world works. So that was the transition for me. I just went, hey, I got to get out of this lane, get into another lane. And the connection between the two is that marketing and leadership are both about persuasion. So those two disciplines are really about persuasion and techniques that you can use in order to help persuade audiences, whether it's your team or your consumer, how to, behave as they move forward on things. So that was the transition. It was kind of fun, and it's been a great journey, and I'm really glad I took that leap, because it could have backfired on me, but it didn't.
When it comes to persuasion, do you have an approach that kind of powers your work when it comes to the marketing side and the leadership development side? Is there shared DNA there?
Yeah, there is. Well, there's not shared DNA in marketing. Well, let me say this. The answer to the question is yes, there's definitely an approach for persuasion if you are a leader trying to persuade other people to do it, to move forward on an initiative. And the secret is to actually not try to persuade, but to influence. And what I mean by that is, we've all been in situations where a salesperson comes into us and is pushy. Hey, can I sell you a car? What are you looking for? All that. And what we do is we put up this wall, and we don't want to be pushed towards something. So what a good persuader has to do is bring the wall down and say, I'm not here to persuade you to do anything. All I'm here to do is to introduce ideas, thoughts, facts to you, so that you can make the best decision that you can for your own needs. So you get on their side of the equation. A friend of mine named Tom Stanfill has written a book on this and one of the topics is dropping the rope. You don't try to do a tug of war with the person you're trying to persuade. You drop the rope and say, hey, I'm on your side. If what we decide on is a mutually agreeable outcome, that's great. If it's not, that's okay too. And if you think about marketing is very much the same thing. Hey, we're here to introduce a product to you. It might be a good product for you. It might not be a good product for you, but we're just here to introduce it to you so that you can make your own decisions.
On Brand, we'll be right back after this.
As a person with a very deep voice, I'm hired all the time for advertising campaigns. But a deep voice doesn't sell B2B, and advertising on the wrong platform doesn't sell B2B either. That's why if you're a B2B marketer, you should use LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn has the targeting capabilities to help you reach the world's largest professional audience. That's right, over 70 million decision makers all in one place. All the big wigs, then medium wigs, also small wigs who are on the path to becoming big wigs. Okay, that's enough about wigs. LinkedIn ads allows you to focus on getting your B2B message to the right people. So, does that mean you should use ads on LinkedIn instead of hiring me, the man with the deepest voice in the world? Yes. Yes, it does. Get started today and see why LinkedIn is the place to be to be. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, creators, podcasters, and brands, if you work on Instagram at all, you have to be tired of the limitations of link in bio. Well, there's a solution. Stampede.social is the ultimate Instagram tool that will change the way you engage with customers, fans, and followers. With Stampede.social, you go beyond a single bio link and instead slide into your fans' DMs. Fire off an automated direct link to wherever you want to send them straight from your posts and lives. This link is only sent to the fans who ask for it, so you'll know exactly who loves your content the most. And Stampede.social does so much more. It gives you back the power of knowing who is engaging with you. It makes it easy to engage with them using AI, and using Stampede.social gives you insights about how your Instagram profile is performing with super robust reports. Drive more clicks, more sales, more followers, and have more time to do what you really love, creating that amazing content. Join the ranks of the world's savviest Instagram creators who already trust Stampede.social. It's a true game changer and will transform the way you connect and engage with your Instagram fans forever. Just for you creators, use our limited time exclusive promo code MPN50. That's MPN50 and get 50% off any monthly or annual subscription tier at checkout. Are you ready to create a stampede of fans back to your content? Don't miss out on this special deal. Head over to Stampede.social.
Now, back to the show. Say more about your recent book and your focus there with Audience of One.
Yeah, research shows that the more targeted you can be in terms of your messaging, the more people will respond to the message. And so the book is about one-to-one marketing, which is really about zeroing in and hyper targeting your campaigns as a way to grow your revenue. So the smaller the audience, the more focused the audience, the greater your ability to generate revenue from them, because it's relevant advertising. So the whole book is about using personally protected data in order to make things more relevant to people. And what studies and research has shown is that people want more relevancy in their ads as long as you protect their privacy, as long as you're not abusing that. And so what the book is all about is how to protect people's privacy while at the same time giving them ad campaigns that are relevant and meaningful to them, so that they're not getting things that are not relevant or not meaningful to them.
You know, you say that, and, like a good marketer and podcast host myself, I'm writing down notes, more targeted, more results. And I'm thinking, this is in a lot of ways such a simple, powerful lesson. Why do we suck at this so much? It seems like it's one of those things that, is it so simple that people miss it? Or is it that it feels like we're swimming upstream because, I think I want to appeal, because the very nature of marketing is kind of rooted in this, in the mass communication broadcast. I need to have the most eyeballs on what I'm working on. So what Jamie's talking about, it can't be that, right?
Yeah.
Why are we missing this?
Well, it's what you said, the swimming upstream. It's a little harder to do and it requires a little more effort, but the results are better. So what happens is that we've all been, as marketers, we've all gone to our clients and said, we ran a campaign and got 10 million impressions for you. Sounds impressive. Well, the reality is 9 million of those impressions were out to people who would never buy your product. So you're not very efficient in what you're doing. To be efficient requires a little bit more work. So you have to narrow your focus, and that requires targeting issues and figuring out how to use data properly and ethically and all that sort of stuff. But if you do it, then the studies show that the ROI on your campaigns actually is better. So if you're doing very simple marketing with unsophisticated clients or agencies, they're going to say, hey, we got a lot of impressions for you. If you're doing sophisticated marketing with sophisticated agencies and clients, they're going to say, hey, we don't care about impressions because that's a false metric. What we care about is your return on investment. For every dollar you spent with this campaign, you generated $1.5 in profit or $2 in profit. And so the book goes through all of that information, giving you a roadmap on how to accomplish that.
You mentioned earlier in talking about the definition of one-to-one marketing, and I'm struggling for your phrasing again. You mention that it was private information, or how did you
Yeah.
define that again?
Yeah, non-personally
Not
identifiable information. Yeah. Now it doesn't roll off the tongue that easily, but but what it basically means is brands literally bend over backwards to make sure that the information they have on you is anonymized. And what that means is Nike, the last thing Nike wants to be accused of is going in and finding out the name, of the person that they're targeting, and that person feels like they've been violated because there's too much information that Nike has on them. So what they do is they go to these third-party companies so that they anonymize the data. And what that means is they don't say, this is Nick Westergaard. What they say is, this is number 0154237. And Nike says, we want more of 0154327 because our data shows that that person, whoever they were, buys our products an awful lot. And so basically what Nike and other brands are really working hard to do is to anonymize the data so that you're protected, but at the same time, be able to leverage the data so that you get advertising and marketing that's relevant to you.
And you just, I feel like that's the secret word in talking about relevance, because that's where, that swimming upstream thing that we were talking about that's what the trade-off really is you might, yes, not be speaking to the masses as we maybe feel more comfortable with, but you're speaking with fewer people, but hopefully in a more relevant way that delivers that connection and an ROI that you're talking about, right?
Exactly. Let me give you a sort of a hypothetical scenario that illustrates the point you're making, which is we can do broadcasting, which is easy, or narrowcasting, which is hard. And my argument is that narrowcasting, one-to-one marketing, is a little harder to do, but it also generates a better ROI. Here's an example. In the old days, in the 20th century, let's say you're selling a perfume, and I'm going to oversimplify a few things here for just argument's sake. You're selling a perfume and you decide, we're going to go run on a TV campaign. So you run your TV ads. Well, half the people watching those TV ads, the men, are not in the market for perfume. So let's put aside sometimes men buy it for gifts, but really you target women in your advertising for perfume. So right off the bat, 50 cents of every dollar you spent is thrown away because half of the people watching your commercial are not in the market for it. So then you go in and you say, okay, well, I at least get half the audience that's watching my perfume commercial. Well, guess what? Out of that half, 50% of those just recently bought perfume and are not interested in buying perfume right now. So now you're down to 25%. Out of that 25%, maybe half of them really wouldn't be interested in the kind of perfume you're smelling because they're younger and they don't want an old person's perfume. So really, you're wasting all of this money. At the end of the day, maybe 90 cents out of every dollar is wasted based on broadcast advertising, where with narrowcast or one-to-one marketing, you're able just to target the 12.5% who are more likely to be in the market, ready to buy your perfume and ready to go down to the store and buy it. And then you can track whether or not that ad actually triggered a purchase on the back end. So it's really fascinating stuff. But the 20th century model of broadcast marketing really doesn't work as well as the 21st century model of one-to-one marketing.
That is a great comparison, and you read my mind on bringing that to life. I was on your LinkedIn profile earlier, and there, writ large, it says "Learn to lead." And as we talk about leadership, and I love your point earlier in terms of, because it's the same thing, and has been for me as well, of speaking with marketing directors. But as we talk about leadership development, learn to lead is something that people might really gravitate towards and think, yes, I want to do that. But how does that work? How do we are
Yeah.
we all value leadership, but yet are taught it in a very lumpy manner.
Yeah, I like that phrase, a lumpy manner. Yeah, absolutely. That it's sort of this kind of clunky thing out there. The starting point, and every one of your listeners can take this to the bank. The starting point is self-awareness, understanding who you are at your heart and soul, and understanding what drives you and motivates you, and then leveraging that in order to use it as a way to inspire others to follow your lead. So the starting point for me personally, and you're probably in the same camp, is I like to help other people. In my heart and soul, when you strip everything away, I'm a helper. You're probably a helper, I can tell, just because you have a podcast. Why do I say that? Well, people who are helpers end up wanting to be teachers. They want to teach other people how to do something. Where can you make money as a teacher? You can go into teaching, and one of my daughters is a teacher, and it's a wonderful profession, a difficult, challenging profession. I'm a teacher as well, but I don't make a lot of money teaching at the university level. What I do make money at is by going around and consulting with others and doing speeches about leadership to help other people learn. So let me just summarize all of that by saying the starting point for leadership is self-awareness, understanding who you are at your heart and soul. For me, it was, I'm a helper. I can help people by teaching. I can make the most money through teaching by doing speeches and consulting. And that whole process kind of gets worked out and helps me figure it out. But for all of your listeners, the starting point is self-awareness, and you got to kind of figure out who you are at your heart and soul.
Well, we are on the same page there. I'm sitting here with a big smile on my face because that's almost word for word what I say also, is that I feel like regardless of what I'm doing, whether I am teaching, speaking, hosting this podcast, it's all about helping people do something differently. So as I mentioned, I have a big smile on my face, and it is now time for me to ask you, Jamie, for a brand that has made you smile recently.
I've got two. If it's okay, I'm going to do two, because one is going to be one that everybody picks probably, which is Progressive. They just do a fun job with their TV commercials, and I see a lot of them, and they just have characters that you love to see and follow along with. So Progressive always puts a smile on my face. I had a smile put on my face the other day when I heard about the founder of Bumble, the dating app, was talking about how they got noticed. She said, we were a small brand. Nobody knew about us. We thought, how can we break through the clutter? We went to college campuses and did two things. Number one, we saw on college campuses that they would say, hey, you're not allowed to do Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter in your classes. And so she said, how do we take that and turn it into a positive for us? Because they knew that if you tell a student not to do something, they're just going to do it. So they went in and put posters up all over campus that had the little circle with the red line going through it over the Facebook logo, the same thing over the Instagram logo, the same thing over the Twitter logo, and the same thing over the Bumble logo, so that people would go, what's Bumble? I mean, it must be something really cool, because it's in this thing where you're not allowed to do it, like Facebook, Instagram, all that. So that was the first thing they did. The second thing they did is they dressed up good-looking young people to walk into a class, one of the big classes, 10 minutes after the class started, with a t-shirt on that said Bumble. And they would walk in, barge into the class, go to the front of the class, turn around and look at the class and go, oh, is this History 101? And they'd say, no, this is Marketing 101. And they go, oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong class, and then walk out. So that everybody, all 200 people in that class, saw, there's that Bumble t-shirt again. What the hell is going on here with these guys? So those were two really fascinating things I thought were great ways for Bumble to break through the clutter and stand out in a very, very cluttered world, so that they could make an impact with the students.
I love that. That's a great example, and certainly a good brand that's made me smile. This, I might have to look. This is like you mentioned, everybody mentioning Progressive. I feel like this past few months, everyone's been mentioning Barbie. So this is
Barbie, sure.
Barbie or Barbenheimer. So Progressive is a fun fun smile to work back into the rotation as well. Jamie, where can folks go to learn more about who you are and what you do?
Thanks for asking. If you just Google Jamie Turner, I'm fortunate that there's not many Jamie Turners out there. So I'll come up all on the first page. You can just click on those links. They will take you to two primary websites I have. One is jamieturner.live, and that's my speaking website. If you want to talk about my doing workshops or speeches, it's there. The other one, which a lot of people really like, is unspokenrules.live. And that's based on the whole platform I've got of the unspoken rules of leadership, which are tools, tips, and techniques you can use to become a better leader. I've got a newsletter sign up there. I've got plenty of information on there and blog posts and all that sort of stuff. Much like you do, by the way, Nick, you've got a great website, and I'm looking at it now, and I'm going to steal some of these ideas. But unspokenrules.live and jamieturner.live are the best places to track me down.
Stealing stuff from others, that's how it all works. That's what makes the world go round. And fun fact, you can also Google Nick Westergaard and you should find me as well. So,
oh yeah. Make sure you put the 2 A's in Westergaard.
I was going to say, that's the tricky thing. You know, I had the idea at a speaking event the other day. I need to remember to get out there and buy Nick Westergaard with only 1 A, because where the heck does that go?
Not a bad idea. And not to take us off topic too much, but is Westergaard, is that a Dutch name or a
Danish?
What is that?
Danish meaning,
I was going to say Danish.
Yeah, meaning West Farm. So
good.
There you go.
That's cool. Yeah.
But I'm in the Midwest, but alas, not a farmer. Well, I will link up to all of that in our show notes, which folks can always find at onbrandpodcast.com. Jamie Turner, thanks for being on brand with us.
Thanks, Nick. Great to be here. I appreciate it.
On Brand is part of the Marketing Podcast Network. If you like what you're hearing, if we've made you smile, you can always listen free on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite platform may be. And please take a moment and rate and review the podcast to help others find the show. Until next week, I'm Nick Westergaard, and I'll see you on the internet.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.